so much.
All right, good morning and welcome to Galaxy. Today, of course, today being September 3rd, is going to be an exciting time out. As usual, my name is Uche Onyeko Uche, and of course, Justin had to take the day off. I mean, to recoup strength against the other stress that will come within the week. Okay, so I'm not alone in today's program. I have with me one of my colleagues, Kelly Egiga. Good morning, Kelly.
Yes, good morning to you, Uche. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning, and I'm absolutely glad to be here. 3rd September, it's a very, very special day. It's a unique day. Well, in my life, but more so for the woman that lodged me in her womb for 9 months.
Exactly.
So I kind of forget this day in a hurry. So happy birthday, mommy of life.
Exactly. Mommy, we're wishing you all the best that life can offer. I mean, for bringing such a gift as Kelly, we can imagine how beautiful you've been, Mommy. Wishing you the best of the day, the best of the year, the best of the earth.
Absolutely.
We're wishing you long life in sound health. Wishing that you eat the fruit of your labor in sound health. I mean, it's another thing to eat the fruit of your labor. It's another thing to be eating in sound health. So, Mommy, is wishing you 10 years more. 20 years more. I don't know how old she is. I want to see clock 80, 90, 100, 110, 120 till the time you say, God, I'm done, I want to go.
Yes, and very, very important, your grandchildren is coming, so...
Oh, Mommy, you need to grand, great-grand, and great.
I'm telling you, very soon, Mama, very soon.
So, Kelly, are you trying to tell us something?
Well, something is cooking, actually.
I love what I'm hearing. Okay, don't worry. You're going to be hearing soon. I'm sure that Kelly's going to feed us in. Don't worry, it's going to be good news. I know it's not the baby mama thing, but you know that thing that happens before having a baby mama? That could be it. Okay, so that's not what we're looking at today, but once again, a hearty congratulations to you, Mommy, Mrs. Egiga. We'll pray you the best of life. Okay, and then on today's show, we're going to go a bit serious, maybe not serious, but something that is pertaining to us, particularly when it comes to security. A whole lot of us feel so insecure in our spaces. I mean, you can't even travel without feeling like, without looking behind. You can't go so far without thinking of those you left at home. There's always this sense of, I hope I'm going to go safely and return safely, you know, if not for the fact that we're religious people who try to commit our ways to the Almighty. But beyond that, I mean, it is also something we have to look at. I mean, when we talk about security, a lot of things just spark. You know, people think of kidnapping, people think of robbery, people think of a whole lot, you know. And so that fear is what we're looking at tackling this morning. Not like we're going to tackle it by ways at which we can actually enjoy maximum security as long as we are staying or living where we are staying. And of course, we have someone in the house who will be looking at this with us. We're not actually looking at security, we're looking at ensuring effective police-community relationship. How well do you know the police? They say police is our friends, but I hear people say no, they rather work with soldiers or mopos rather than working with the police. But hey, that's why we have the police there. And we have someone in the house who will be looking at this with us in person of Lucas Koyejo. He's the chairman, Police Accountability Forum and coordinator, Nation Human Rights Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Galaxy today, Lucas Koyejo. Good morning, sir. Good to have you.
Yeah,
good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uche.
Yeah.
Good morning, Ken.
Good to have you with us this Tuesday morning.
It's a pleasure to be here, actually.
Okay, this is true confession. I must say that I've not seen a policeman like this before, but I think I'm liking what I'm saying, you know. You're not a policeman. Okay, because I was going to say that. Okay, but you're into policing, aren't you?
Yeah, the National Human Rights Commission, we are into protection of rights.
Okay.
Protection and promotion of rights. And the Accountability Forum is made up of CSOs.
Okay, security men.
Yeah, CSOs.
Security officers.
No, that's not it. Civil society organizations.
Okay.
Civil society organizations and some government organizations like National Human Rights Commission, of which I'm the coordinator. So that is why, because you cannot divorce security from human rights. For you to enjoy your human rights, there must be security.
Exactly.
You know, the police must be able to do their work, and they must do it well. They must create a secure environment
Okay. I'll just button here. Just before we continue, we would like to remind you that to be part of this program, all you just need to do is send SMS to the number that we're written on the screen. Do not call. We're already receiving calls. Just send an SMS, make your comment, your complaint, your contribution, and we'll receive it. And also on our social media handles using hashtag Galaxy Today. Okay, so I'd like to put it out this way. They say police is our friend.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of people...
It's supposed to be, actually.
Exactly. But a lot of people seem to have to trust more of even the vigilantes, you know, than the police. I'd like to ask, where would you say we got it all wrong? Because before now, we know that when there's an issue of insecurity, because we're looking at insecurity now, the first place that comes to mind is a police station. But right now, people rather go into probably jungle justice, or they go into what they call self-defense. You know, self-help, you know, or rather go to the local security men. The police is almost like the last resort.
Well, I will not put it like that. They are not always at the last. But then I will say that there have been, you know, a lot of failings, let me put it that way, you know, progressively over the years in the policing sector, on which there have been tremendous, you know, improvement. So some also, because a lot of actors have started putting things in place to ensure that police, the Nigerian police, to ensure that they take their rightful place. Now, you said that, you know, people go to the vigilantes, go to jungle justice. You know, there's nothing you can do. All those things cannot take the place of police.
Yes.
Because they are the only organ, they are the only body empowered by law, you know, to ensure that our society is crime-free. So you cannot, there's no way you are going to resort to self-help, like you call it. Because in doing that, you might actually be breaking the law and be committing crime.
Exactly.
Like what you call jungle justice. That is a serious violation of human rights. It's about, you know, lynching somebody just based on allegation, which is unproved. And people can be lynched, people have been lynched due to mistaken identity, due to unsubstantiated allegations sometimes. You know, but just like you rightly put it, maybe because people have lost faith in the police, you tend to see the public taking the law into their hands, which two wrongs cannot make a right. Because that one is totally unjustifiable.
We know that our country has gone through a very, very rough path very recently in terms of security. I mean, 2009 Boko Haram started. We have practically lost the northeast, and then of course here we are now, there's battling with some other issues, ritualists, kidnappers, and all of that. And I think in a bid to probably curb some of these crimes and all of that, the police is coming up with community policing, which has to do with the relationship between the police and the community. But help us understand this concept better in probably a more simpler term.
Yeah, actually, there's no way the police can do their work without the community. Now, we observe that over the years, it's like the public, the community, they've lost faith. You know, people are not trusting the police again. And there is need to bring that, you know, to bring the two parties together. Because actually, it is in the interest of the community for the police to be able to function very well. And if the information that's supposed to be coming from the community, the help that the police need to tackle crime, supposed to come from the people. Because they know every community, they know themselves, they know who and who, where, you know, where, you know, they know who and who, what the people are doing and stuff like that. So for criminals not to be able to have an hiding place, the police need the community to help them, to give them information. You know, they are very vital when it comes to intelligence gathering. Now, where there's this, where there's a break in relationship, you know, it's going to affect effective policing. It's going to affect security. And that is the result of what we have been seeing. You've talked about the rise in crime, Boko Haram. Now that has become an insurgency, which the soldiers have to deal with. Now I'm talking about other kidnappings, armed robbery, everything. All these people, they are not, they are human beings. They are not ghosts. You know, they are somebody's neighbor, somebody's uncles, they are our people. So if the police have the right intelligence from the community, they'll be able to deal with these issues more effectively. I
want to butt in here, talking about intelligence.
Yeah.
Would you say our police and the police system is not equipped enough? I know there are units in the police that are supposed to handle one thing or the other. You know, there are squads and the rest, but how would you say they've been faring? I mean, over the years, it looks like is that manpower in the police sector is not enough, or it looks like they're not well equipped. I think that profession is supposed to be, there's supposed to be a continuous retraining.
Sure, you're right.
But it looks like our police, and I give an example. A lot of people used to say, I make a funny joke out of this. You're on the road and then you see the police coming. The first thing they want to give you is that superiority. They want to make you feel like they're superior. They want you to leave the road, let me pass. They don't want to go through whatever thing, normal citizens. For instance, you're in the traffic. They want to just combat the traffic anyhow, clear the road, let me pass. You know, again, you see cases where I feel, in a case of emergency, it looks like they're not fit enough. We see all those pot-bellied men looking all lazy and drowsy. And it just makes me wonder, with the crime rates we have in this country, looking at it from cyber world, we need people who are mentally fit and who are physically fit. We don't see that in the police system. Would you say this is one of the reasons it looks like the police system isn't working? Because it looks like they are quite lackadaisical. They're just after the peanuts they get from people. So how do we trace the root and the cause of all this? Despite the fact that we heard that at the time they had to increase their take home, the monthly salary, but it still looks like this hasn't changed. What would you say is the reason for all this?
Well, the reasons, you know, there are myriads of reasons for it. Because the police themselves, they are products of the society. They are people that are employed from the society, you know. So like you have rightly said, you look at the training, you know, the equipment, even the condition that the policemen lived, the barracks, you know, the condition of the police barracks, you know, then the funding, the salary, everything. You find out that, you know, the police themselves, the police needs to be upgraded. All these things that you rightly mentioned has to be looked into, which I believe is being addressed. Now, it starts from the recruitment, the process of recruitment. You know, what is the quality of the people that is being admitted to the police force? You know, that is where it starts from. Then the training, you know, what kind of training are they getting? Human rights training, intelligence training, you know, weapon handling training. We've had cases of accidental discharge and stuff like that. All those things have been taken into consideration. And all these issues have been taken up with the police commands and the Police Service Commission, so that it has to be addressed. Now, you mentioned one issue about the police maybe on the road, that is use of siren. You know, I agree with you that siren have been abused, mostly by, you know, people that should not be using it, actually. But it's been abused. But actually, police have the right to use siren. That is when they have an emergency. If they're in pursuit of criminals or they want to respond to distress call, then police have the right to use siren, just like the ambulance, and it is your duty to make way for them, because it might be a matter of life and death. You know, but you are right that sometimes they abuse it.
Yeah.
When maybe just an old dog, they are not, no emergency, just so have to have their way. But you never can judge what they are going for. So police, ambulance, they are the right people for you to make way of for.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Lucas, let's look at some other issues really, and as we look at this relationship between the community and the police. In the very simple terms, why should the community trust the police, especially with some of the past events, some of the stigma, some of the narrative that people are used to? Why should I have an information and still take it to the police when probably if I get there, the police may hold me back and say stay back, or ask you to write a statement? You know, why should the community trust the police?
Well, the community have to trust the police because they need the police. There's no substitute for the police. All the other so-called substitutes cannot work. And if you go into the police station, like you said, of course you have to write a statement. If you are laying a complaint, or if there's an allegation against you, you have to write a statement, which is normal procedure everywhere. You know, just not an abuse of your rights. You have to write a statement. You know, where it becomes an abuse is where you are being forced to say what you don't want to say, or what is not right. You know, you are supposed to be, statements are supposed to be voluntary.
Okay.
You understand? Where it is involuntary, that is where it is illegal. But voluntary statements should be taken. And apart from that, the community needs the police, like I've said. Now, what needs to be improved, you know, is the responsibility of the police to the community to ensure that complaints against the police are properly addressed.
Okay.
There's several complaints against the police, individual police, like just in every society, in every workplace, you have what we call bad eggs. You know, police forces, they are not an exception.
Okay.
So, you know, what is needed is for us to ensure that where policemen have erred in the course of their duty, they are being called to order. If there's need for discipline, they are being disciplined. And that is where the CSO Accountability Forum comes in. You know, so that we ensure that if there are complaints against policemen in the course of their duty, or they went outside their duty to do illegal duties, to perpetrate illegalities, and their complaints, they are made to answer for it. The proper disciplinary procedures should be followed. If you have been following the news, I believe you've heard issues of people, policemen that have committed extrajudicial
Killings, yeah.
You know, in the cases, I believe all of them, they've been arrested, they've been made to go through a little trial. Which
I know very recently, I think a boy or two stole phones, and then the police went ahead to kill those boys, you know.
Yeah, exactly, like it was done, you know. It was captured and it went viral. Now, those policemen have been arrested and they have been dismissed from the police.
Okay.
You know, according to the latest report, and right now, they are now going to face, you know, their trial in court.
Okay.
Those are the kind of things that we encourage in police, because that will serve as deterrent to others of like-minded that may likely do such things when they know that they are not going to be covered by the police command.
But let's talk about community police. And do you not think it's good if they can decentralize and let each state handle its own police system? Do you not think it would be a wise idea? Because it looks like there are not enough manpower in the police system, and so emergency cannot be easily, you know, reached. So I'm thinking, if you want to suggest to the central government now, or to the government, federal government rather, concerning policing, would you not think that community policing is good so that people can have one-on-one, more effective, relationship with the police? As well as, would you also suggest that each person be posted to their place of origin, where you understand the language?
Yeah, because that's what some states have been clamoring for. States policing, yes.
That the states should have.
The states, you know.
You know, now there have been arguments for
and against, yeah.
You know, in which case both arguments, when you look at it, they have the, you know, they are vital arguments, you know, and they are good arguments. That things that you can reason with. But actually, we believe that you know, if the power, you know, policing power can be devolved to the states to actually improve policing, even to the community, like it is done in other countries. Like in the United States, you have, you know, you have city police. You know, every city have their police controlled, and you know, by the counties, by the city. Okay. You know, that is the way it is. And the federal, you know, they have the FBI. That is the federal police. You know, the FBI is the federal police, then there are the state police, the local police, and that's how it comes down. Even over there, some universities, they have their police controlled by the university, you know, and they do carry arms, you know, because those things make for effectiveness, you know. So I believe that because Nigerian police, like we are like 200 million, that is what they put our population on. And we said that the police is here not adequate. Even though the Nigerian police is still the largest single police. It's about nearly 400,000, 300 plus. That's large, you know. But then, because it is centrally commanded, central command is a single force, you know. So, why it may have its own benefits considering our peculiar situation, you know, I believe that, you know, looking at the way that crime is evolving, the way to go is actually to make way, you know, for the policing to be devolved downward.
Okay.
You know, to the states, even to the local level.
Okay. Well, we're watching Galaxy today, and of course our focus is on community policing. We're looking at ensuring effectiveness of this particular relationship between the police and the community. We'll take a breather now and just see a report as part of measures by the Lagos State Police Command to interface with the community. There was this meeting at the University of Lagos between the Nigeria Police and students from various tertiary institutions here in Lagos. We'll take that report. We'll be back in just a moment.
Community policing, or community-oriented policing, is a strategy of policing that focuses on building ties and working closely with members of the communities. In a bid to strengthen the concept of the Lagos State Command interface with the tertiary community. Speaking at the Student Security Summit, the Commissioner of Police also harps on the essence of the meeting.
At bringing the police and the students together to fight so many vices on the campuses, especially cultism. So the students are here. You can see that our various DPOs in this area that are in charge of the areas around the university are all here. So papers were presented and then we will discuss between the police and the students.
Meanwhile, the event was also part of the effort by the Nigeria Policing Program, NPP, to enhance and improve police delivery. In a lecture, the Dean Student Affairs, Professor Ademola Adeleke, spoke of the security challenges peculiar to the University of Lagos and the way forward.
Our location provides a lot of uniqueness for us. We are one of the few universities in the world that is hugging the lagoon, and that provides beauty and excellence to our campus. But beyond that is the fact that when it comes to social vices, we are surrounded by neighborhoods that are infested with cults, with drugs, and by social miscreants, particularly Iwaya, Bariga, Ilaje, Shomolu. All these areas are occupied by low-income citizens. They are also occupied by drug addicts, called boys and called girls.
For representatives of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, Lagos Axis, the event was motivated by the death of a student in the hands of bandits. Speaking further, the chairman of NANS, Lagos Axis, called on students to shun acts of violence and crimes.
We lost the PR of the association, the person of Comrade Oshin Aderibigbe in the hand of bandits. And after that, students clamor to protest, to flood the streets of Lagos, carrying placards to express their grievances.
The overall assessment of community-oriented policing is positive, as both officers and community members attest to its effectiveness in reducing crime and raising the sense of security in the community. Traditionally, determining whether police or policies are effective or not can be done by evaluating the crime rate for a geographic area. One can only hope that crimes are reduced to the barest minimum via community policing. Kelly Egiga, Galaxy Television News, Lagos.
Okay, welcome back. That was a report on the community policing. Okay, sir, let's take it from there. You heard what the man said. I want you to first react to what you heard before we continue. What would you say to the report we just saw now?
Yes, I would say that I agree with what he said. About community policing, and I think it's being particular about the University of Lagos.
Okay.
The security, of the university, being that it's bordering the lagoon, and we know that some criminals, they make use of the waterways. They can make use of the waterways to enter into some communities, some neighborhood that are bordering waterways, through the fast boats and escape through it. So in which case they need special policy, for those kind of, neighborhood. I think that is what it is all about. Okay. And I think I can see the Commissioner of Police is there, to lend strength to what, to ensure to convince people that they are on the ground. That's what it's all about.
Okay, because you're also involved with Human Rights Commission, NHA, sometimes some people wonder, Nigerians wonder, some of the crimes and all of that, why can't the police just go and just bomb those places? And the police will say, we cannot do that because of people like you who also would want to fight for human rights and the fact that they might and the fact that
somebody commit a crime here now and they bomb this place, then those of us that did not participate in it, everybody will go. Because
I remember the Sambisa case, we've not forgotten it, and people just, why can the government just bomb that place? But Amnesty International, women's rights and all of that. But how can we create a balance between trying to fight for the rights of people, which is very, very essential, and the fact that there might be some miscreants and all of that we need to just, eject, so to say?
Yeah, the way to go about it is not to bomb. Anyway, police don't use bomb anyway. Those are military hardwares, which are being used, in warfare. Those are sorts, they are not part of police weapons. Military, just a military.
But just attacking the place and maybe shooting.
But how about we begin?
You have to be sure of who you are shooting at. If they are criminals that are fleeing or criminals that are attacking them, of course they have the right, they have the power to exchange gunfire with them. But you don't, police should not, even soldiers, you don't shoot at random. You must be sure that you are shooting at the enemy, that you are shooting at the criminals. You don't just kill everybody. That is that will become it's either be a war crime, or a crime against humanity.
Okay, but let's bring in your profession here, because you're the chairman, Police Accountability Forum.
Yes.
And how accountable have they been? I mean, crime happens every day. It's the one that comes to bear that we know. So would you say that policemen are thriving? Because it almost feels like there's no safe place to be. Even the police station, we hear cases where people take cases there, is that the cases are watered down, or the police will have a way of magnifying it if they see that they cannot get what they want from you, or probably they get what they want from you and they think you might want to blow it out there. They just try a way to in fact, somebody said they're as black as what the uniform used to be, the black uniform, you know. So now I'm looking at how accountable would you say they are? I mean, this is where you function.
Okay, I would say that, you know, this Lagos State, we deal with Lagos State.
Okay.
You know. Now, I give you an example of the way that the policemen that committed extrajudicial killing, how they were treated.
Said that earlier.
That is to show you the effectiveness of the complaints mechanism, disciplinary, you know, mechanism in the police. You know, those are the kind of things that we are talking about that we want to ensure. Now, if you look at the police, there's nowhere that you don't have, like I mentioned it before, that you don't have bad eggs, you know, so there will always be complaints against the police. The right thing is to ensure that the complaint mechanism put in place is working. And actually that there is a means of feedback to the society, to the people, that okay, your complaint has been received and this is what has been done about it. Just like the police PPRO have been doing, feeding back the community, the Lagos State people, with what is being done about issues, about, you know, people like policemen that have committed offenses. That is what we are about. Now, the police, they have hierarchies, different commands. If you go to police station and you are not satisfied with the way that your matter is handled, you have the right to move fire to complain to the area commander. If the area commander did not handle your case well, you can go to the commissioner of police, even from there to the zonal command, up to the people. You can petition to the IG, you can even petition to the police service commission, you know. So just like you have the courts, you know, from one level to the other, you know, so that at a point you cannot say that, you know, you don't have remedy to your case, except especially if you have a genuine complaint. At a point, it will be taken to it will be looked into. And if you felt that, like the you call, you know, you took a matter to the police station and they are not treating it well and you have complained to the police, it's like you are sensing there's compromise or things like that. Of course, the other bodies like the CSO, like the National Human Rights Commission, you can write a complaint to us against the police and we will take it up with the police.
Okay. And then some of these officers who are dismissed, don't you think sometimes they may also come back and become a threat to the society? Because when they are dismissed and they are fired and, you know, no more jobs for their family and all of that, so do you think they can in the end become well, criminals, so to say?
Yeah, you are right. You know, because these are people that have been trained.
They've been trained.
Weapon handling and things like that. You know, of course, you are right that there's tendency that they might come back to the society and become a criminal. You know, you are right. You know, I think now it is the, you know, because the police, that is part of the, they have responsibility to keep a tab, so to say, on those kind of people that have tendency of becoming a problem to the society, so that they nip the activity in the board. That is what they can do about that.
Okay, so I'd like us to also look at the case of, I don't know how to put this now. Okay, let me bring out this example where someone said that there was a case of rape, and then she actually was there for something else, but overheard a mother with a 16-year-old girl who came for a case of rape. And then all the DPO could say was, I think the girl is 15, but the perpetrators were about 16. They're all age group, two of them, two boys and the girl. And what the DPO just told her was, okay, you see that abandoned car there, where the tires are gone all banned and the windscreen is bad, so repair it and then case closed.
That's wrong.
Absolutely wrong.
That is, you repair the abandoned car. Whose car?
No,
is it the
I wasn't
police
there,
car?
but even as I'm saying that, I'm feeling mad about it.
And what has that one got to do with the prosecution of the case?
So how do we begin?
Please, if you have such a case, just you know, if you know such people, if you still have the information, or if your contacts know the person that has happened to, we are very interested. I would like to know the case.
Thank you.
We'd like to follow it up.
Because now the fear
That's
is
unprofessional.
very unprofessional. And that is like a scare, because some people, I've heard cases where people say the insecurity they experience is actually perpetrated by those policemen. Now, let's begin to change narratives. That the majority might be that way does not mean that that is what the police force is all about. How do we begin to make people understand that your place of security, or to a maximum extent, the police is there for some kind of duty? Because sometimes you go to the police and it feels like you have to rub their palms to get them to do their job in the first place. How do we need to make people understand that the fact that it has been that way doesn't mean that that is the norm? The police still has one or two duties. So how do we begin to change that narrative? Because like a case also comes to mind now. A friend told me he was coming out from a church activity one particular night. He was stopped at the junction by the police, and they deliberately asked for money and said he didn't have. They came into the car and told him to drive them down to an ATM machine where he could get money. In fact, at the time, he jokingly told me, make sure you're always having a particular ATM card that has just 5,000 naira in it. And that was all he did. They took them to the ATM machine, withdrew money, and gave him, and they left him. That's robbery,
You
extortion.
know? That's
lots of those experiences. I remember one of our colleagues also had an experience as such.
That's robbery. You know, the man should have refused. Why should he do that?
It was night, and they had arms, and the fear of his head cases where police could actually mime or kill someone, and they cover up such cases. So these are fears.
That's more like an armed robbery, the
exactly.
way you have explained it.
So
because you are harmed and you force the person to give you this money. You know, if that kind of those policemen, the person you are talking about could actually make a report, identify the exact time, the exact place, and could give some information.
But the fear that this might never get to the right desk is what makes people keep quiet.
That's disinformation. Okay. You know, you don't. That's a defeatist attitude. You don't believe that you don't start from saying it will never get to the right desk or nothing will be done about it. Those are the kind, of mindsets that have made, institutions like police to get from bad to worse, because people just take whatever happened, and after it has happened, that they've gone and they just forget about it until it keeps repeating itself. It embodies such people in the police to continue to do such acts. But when they know that when you do such a thing, you might not get away with it, you see that it will stop. But because people contribute to it by not giving the information, by keeping quiet, which is very wrong. Such things, such crimes continue in this society.
Mr. Lucas, so do you believe in the Nigeria police? Do you think that we can actually put an end to some of these very negative things that accompany them? Do you think that we can actually get to that point where when the Nigeria police is mentioned, when someone sees the uniform of the Nigeria police force,
or you feel all protected.
You feel protected. There's something about integrity. Because I was going to say, even a colleague very recently was harassed. People have been harassed severally. You see young people going home because they have laptops in their bag and they are arrested. They are treated and you drive and you see a checkpoint by the where the police is, and you hear, "Oga, can we have pure water?" Can we ever get to that point where the Nigeria police force, the uniform, everything that has to do with that force, because it's actually the oldest force. It's the oldest force, if I'm not mistaken. And can we get to that point where that force is associated with integrity, dignity, where parents can even say, I want my son to become a policeman, not because there's unemployment.
Well, I believe that there's no problem without a solution, and no problem is insurmountable if people decide to address the problem. And it takes joint efforts of you, myself, not just of the police, not just of the government, but of everybody. If everybody decide that, okay, this problem, we need to address it, I believe that it can be done. It's doable. You know, of course, there's going to be resistance from people that are benefiting, policemen that, you know, that it has, you know, it has become a culture, they've been accustomed to do something, you know. But when people are being weeded out, when people are being punished, being disciplined, you see the changes. It will start to happen. But for that to happen, you know, it needs, like I say, everybody to be jointly responsible, you know, to ask, to request, to demand for the right policing, for the right police that we need.
Okay, as we consider ensuring effective police-community relationship, I'd like you to speak to the community. Practically, what should members of the community do? What is expected of us? What are our roles? What do we need to do?
Well, our role is that, number one, security starts with you and me.
Okay.
Okay.
You should not, you know, abandon, leave all your security to the police. Everybody should be vigilant, and you should actually, like you said, make the police your friend. At the same time, you know, report every infraction of the law, either by people around or by the police themselves to the appropriate authority. That is how to reform the police. You know, when you expose all the bad deeds, you expose. So if the bad elements, if they don't have hiding place, you know, you will see that there will be reformation.
I'd like to ask, is there a way where do police have a constant orientation meetings, and you know, because it looks like you come in, you get a job, employment, and all you just have to do is just follow the wagon. I don't know if there's some kind of, I mean, way back in school, once you enter school, there's this orientation class they give to every one of us. You understand the department and what is expected of you. Don't we still have that in the police college? Because it looks like people just come in and just follow as you see. Whatever you see them do, do the same. You know, that's what I get.
No, police college are meant, you have the training schools, you have the police, they are meant to train them, you know, before they will be, you know, sent to the field, like you rightly said. Okay. So it is not just that they come there and they just follow the group. Of course, when there are a lot of things that you learn on the job. Yes. I believe that all the bad things that you are talking about, they don't teach them all those stuffs at the police college, or, you know, they learn they learn it from the other bad elements that are already in the field. They learn it on the job. But I believe that, you know, there's one thing to train you. There's another thing for you to adhere to the training. You know, those are the things. Now, what will make you to adhere, to ensure that you adhere to your training, is when you know that when you go outside the bounds, you might get disciplined. You know, it is very important. The training and retraining too is very important. You know, that is what we emphasized on. Even those that are already in the field, they need to be retrained. You know, everybody needs to learn and learn and learn.
Talking about
that is why policemen, you see, you've heard about our policemen that, you know, going outside the country and excelling in what they are doing. So what makes them different when they come to Nigeria? You know, so those are the issues that we do. That shows that actually they can do better.
Okay, I like also to talk about what you said about the field now, putting them in the field. Do you not think there should be probably an age bracket for such field workers? looking at the kind of people who have the police force, it almost feels like we tend to see those, okay, maybe, yeah, age bracket and of course health status, you have to be healthy. Because sometimes you see some policemen, you can easily tell that probably by temperament they are sluggish, or by age they really can't be as active as if they were much younger. Do you now think that the police force should also look at the kind of people they send in the field? I mean,
yeah,
some better for administration.
For you to combat criminals and for you to be effective, you have to be fit.
Okay, and your IQ has to be sharp as well.
Yeah, you know, physical fitness affects your mental fitness. If you are not physically fit somehow, it may affect even your mental fitness. Because if you are sick in the body, you know, you might not be able to function very well. Either, you know, mental duty, physical duty. That is why you are right that the police, they need to pay attention to both the mental fitness and physical fitness of their officers, so as to ensure that, you know, the right peg are put in the right hole. If you are old, of course, you know the age, you know, of retirement in the police. So it will now depend, you know, on the police command where the people are to determine which kind of duty they give to you, depending on your age, depending on your age. Of course, if you look like the mobile police, you see that mostly they are made up of young people. They're younger, you know, younger men, you know. So those, they have to tell you something, that they look at the age, they look at the duty that it's involved before they will decide the kind of people they are going to post there. You know, take it into consideration.
Okay, so it's still Galaxy today, and we've been speaking with Lucas Koyejo. We'll just take a quick break. Let's go see the report once again for those of you who might have joined a bit late. And then when we return, we'll do hope to take some SMSs if we can. But stay tuned, go see this report, and we'll be back. Remember, you can still send your SMS to the number that will be written on the screen.
Community policing, or community-oriented policing, is a strategy of policing that focuses on building ties and working closely with members of the communities. In a bid to strengthen the concept of a Lagos State Command interface with the tertiary community. Speaking at the Student Security Summit, the Commissioner of Police also harps on the essence of the meeting.
At bringing the police and the students together to fight so many vices on the campuses, especially cultism. So the students are here. You can see that our various DPOs in this area that are in charge of the areas around the university are all here. So papers were presented, and then we will discuss between the police and the students.
Meanwhile, the event was also part of the effort by the Nigeria Policing Program, NPP, to enhance and improve police delivery. In a lecture, the Dean Student Affairs, Professor Ademola Adeleke, spoke on the security challenges peculiar to the University of Lagos and the way forward.
Our location provides a lot of uniqueness for us. We are one of the few universities in the world that is hugging the lagoon, and that provides beauty and excellence to our campus. But beyond that is the fact that when it comes to social vices, we are surrounded by neighborhoods that are infested with cults, with drugs, and by social miscreants, particularly Iwaya, Bariga, Ilaje, Shomolu. All these areas are occupied by low-income citizens. They are also occupied by drug addicts, called boys and called girls.
For representatives of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, Lagos Axis, the event was motivated by the death of a student in the hands of bandits. Speaking further, the chairman of NANS, Lagos Axis, called on students to shun acts of violence and crimes.
We lost the PR of the association, the person of Comrade Oshin Aderibigbe, in the hand of bandits. And after that, students clamor to protest, to flood the streets of Lagos, carrying placards to express their grievances.
The overall assessment of community-oriented policing is positive, as both officers and community members attest to its effectiveness in reducing crime and raising the sense of security in the community. Traditionally, determining whether police or policies are effective or not can be done by evaluating the crime rate for a geographic area. One can only hope that crimes are reduced to the barest minimum via community policing. Kelly Egiga, Galaxy Television News, Lagos.
Okay, welcome back. It's the Galaxy today, and of course, we're looking at ensuring effective police-community relationship. Okay, so before we end the show, we just want you to give us tips on how to have a better working relationship with the police, particularly we as citizens. How or what are we expected to do to see that we live communally with the policemen?
Well, first of all, I will talk about the area of crime detection.
Okay.
Because for the communities, society to be crime-free is to our benefits. And the police, they are public servants. They are being paid to ensure that criminals are apprehended, to ensure that we have security. So it is your tax that is being used to pay them. And so we need to ensure that they do their work, and they need us to succeed. So in order to do that, you need to make them your friend. You need to give them information. You know, if you know of any, criminal, if you know of any criminal activities going on, you need to give police information. Because it might not affect you directly, but what goes around comes around. That's what they used to say. If it happens to your neighbor and you have information, you hold on to it and you do not divulge it because it doesn't concern you. The day it is going to concern you, the same thing might happen. So we need to be our neighbor's keeper. We need to be vigilant, and you need to be vigilant and know your neighbors. And if you suspect anything, if you see something, say something. That's the way they used to say it.
Okay.
So you should give information to the police. And if in any way you have any problem with the policemen, you believe that some policemen have committed an offense, or maybe they are demanding for bribe, just like you said, or like the example that you gave, policemen acting unprofessionally, whatever the level, whether, DPO, area commander, at whatever level you need to lay your complaints.
Who do you lay your complaints to?
Like I said, there are hierarchies of complaints. You can lay, if you have policemen, they are from a division, you can lay your complaint to the DPO. You can lay your complaint to the area commander. But then there are some bodies that are set up to actually discipline the police, where you can lay your complaint directly. You have the Police Public Complaints Bureau, PCB. You can lay your complaints, write your petition, go there direct and lay your complaints. You have what those we call the OCX squad. You have these two bodies, these two units at the state command, where you can lay your complaints against policemen.
Are you saying this is also beyond Lagos? It's not just
of course,
Lagos.
They are not just in Lagos, they are in everywhere in the states, even in the FCT, the commands. And you can actually lay your complaint to the National Human Rights Commission if the police are not doing anything.
Okay, let me just read this out. This one said, I'm Esther from Iyano Baja. I have a case whereby someone is holding me money, is owing me money, and I tried to collect it from him, but I can't. So I sent the policeman to help me, and he said that I have to pay for it, so I pled with him, and he told me that even if I should go to station, if I don't have money with me, nobody will attend to me. So because of that, the person have to go with my money. In this case, what do I do? So she's saying that the police is requesting she pays for the service.
Okay. Now, let me just comment on that. I think there's a lack of information or lack of knowledge of the law on the parts of most citizens. First of all, collection of debts. Debt recovery is not the job of policemen. It's not the job of policemen to recover debts. First of all. The policemen will be unprofessional for them to entertain issues of debt recovery.
Okay.
If somebody is owing you, there are proper legal ways of going to recover your debts.
And not through the police.
Not through the police.
Okay, because we're running out of time, let me just quickly read this too. He said, good day, the police force are doing a good job, but these days police officers in my area, please do not call. Police officers in my area create checkpoints anyhow to collect money and to harass young people. I know of an incident where some boys were beaten because of just dressing flashy, and literally the boys refused to give them money, so they were beaten and even used what you call tear gas or whatever it's called. Please, we just need you guys to do some orientation and do things with ease. Emmanuel, and this one said, is brutality a part of investigations? Maybe you're wrong or not, from Mr. Bassey. In just 1 minute, because we are running out of time, what would you like to say to these people?
Yeah, you know, I just need to say something quickly, especially about on the last note, police brutality, which is actually a violation of human rights.
Yes.
But that is against your right to dignity of human person. You know, when you talk about torture and inhuman and degrading treatment, those things should have no place in policing. The police have no right to beat you, to torture you, whether you committed the offense or not.
Or not, okay.
You know, it is not within their duty, but their right to, you know, to elicit information through force. You know, yes.
All right, thank you so much, sir. We wish you could go on, but time isn't friendly. We've been speaking with Lucas Koyejo, the chairman, Police Accountability Forum. Thank you so much, sir. This is why we'll put the curtain, but just keep the conversation going on our social media handle. Do not stop. We'll be back at 10, promise, tomorrow, to have more exciting time up with you. I'm your humble home girl, Uche Onyekoje. Bye for now.